and the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and it is Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for the toy news, action figure news of the week that interested me, that hopefully interests you, and got a big week of toy news, but in a plot twist, I am filming this on Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday this week. Usually I film late Friday afternoons, Friday evening. Had to do Wednesday this week, got some travel, got some stuff I got going on, so I got to film it early. I am lucky, fortunate, whatever you want to call it. We got a lot of news early this week, and same thing for weekly purchases tomorrow. Had a lot of stuff come in early in the week. So traditional videos here, just filmed a couple of days earlier. So any news that breaks Thursday, Friday, guess what? We'll circle back around to the toy news in the next week. We got to thank Jay'sToysAndGames.com for sponsoring this edition of the toy news. Use code Kyle, save yourself 15% on all in-stock items. Got to get a deal out there, and don't forget the Patreon. Plenty of videos early up there, including my podcast, The Kyle Peterson Show. You get that extra early. This coming week, episode 34, it's an all-timer. You're going to hear about parent-teacher conferences. And truly, the class of 1984, if you've ever seen that movie, that was kind of like my childhood elementary. So you'll find more on that in the podcast. And then this week, episode 33, up right now for everyone. It is the Larry Bird, Jose Canseco of podcast episodes, if you know. And if you know, you're a real one for sure. But a lot going on Patreon. We got this month's giveaway. It is the Major Stars Series 1. Check that out on Patreon. Check out YouTube channel memberships as well if you want some more content. There's going to be a lot of content over the next couple of days here on Patreon. Tons and tons of stuff. I got about 35 videos in the can. I just got to edit them, and I'm going to be doing that while I'm away. So I'll be able to get a lot of that stuff out. And we're in best of season. We've already done a few of the best of 2025 videos. This week, we did my top 5 issues with AEW Jazzwares for 2025. Last week, we did the Mattel version. We got a lot of top 5, top 10 as we celebrate the best and worst of action figures in 2025. So a lot of content to come. Make sure you subscribe to both of my YouTube channels. You don't want to miss any of it. But we're going to kick it off here. And dare I say, are we going to start with a little bit of conspiracy? We might have to. Todd McFarlane has a lot of word has went out there about the status of one good friend of the channel, Jesse Ventura, actually Jesse the Body Ventura to all of us. Governor, yeah, I'll accept that as well.
Hi, Kyle. Governor Jesse Ventura here, or in the days of wrestling, Jesse the Body Ventura. Thanks for doing this.
A lot of rumors about Jesse not being on Saturday night's main event. People saying he had a 1-year contract with Mattel and it's possibly up. Nobody knows for sure, but we do know we got figures coming out. We got retros. We got that Ultimate Edition eventually. Some Elites. Apparently a Build-A-Figure. We talked about that. I think he still has a Legends deal, but I think what happened is he had a year-long contract for on-air talent, Saturday night's main event, all that kind of stuff. I think that was no longer in play. I think that is done, but his Legends deal stays. That's my guess. That's me putting the business hat on. That is my guess there. So hopefully more Jesse figures. Let's get these Jesse figures already. I'm ready for them. But Jesse still with Mattel in the Legends deal. Just not going to be on Saturday night's main event. You might as well just cancel Saturday night's main event right now. I'd cancel John Cena's last match. If Jesse Ventura is there, nobody's going to be interested if he's not there. Maybe, maybe not. But the conspiracies continue a little bit this week with Mattel. It's just a conspiracy episode, I guess. Somebody call Ventura once again. But Andrade Elite 122, a lot of rumors that's been canceled. I think it was Entertainment Earth maybe sent some emails out saying, hey, the manufacturer, Mattel, has canceled this figure. Obviously, Andrade off TV. Nobody's really sure if he's got a contract anymore. But they're saying this is canceled. I don't think that is the case. I think even Steve said, maybe in a Facebook posting, Steve of Mattel fame, saying, no, it's coming out. This one could be something to keep your eyes on, though. This could be one of those ones that goes out a little bit, but they stop production on, so it's maybe a little bit rarer than others. And one cool thing about this Andrade, and one of the selling points is first time ever speed title. So that could be a pretty rare title, but let's be honest, that'll come out again in the future with some other performer. We know how that'll go. But Andrade, always full of controversy. Remember back, there used to be the NXT Target Elite line. Andrade was supposed to be in that once upon a time. Ended up going to ringside. So he's had some canceled figures. An interesting guy. I don't know. He might be a good business case for a wrestling business school of what not to do in professional wrestling in a lot of ways. But Andrade, we'll see what ends up happening with that. In some happier Mattel news, though, this week, it's not all doom and gloom. We do see from Steve Ogier on Action Figure Attack on Instagram, he did show off upcoming Monday Night Wars China figure. That's going to be an interesting one. I'm here for that China. That looks really, really good. That looks like possibly her best figure yet. It'll be interesting to see how that resonates in sales, because do I remind anybody about the WrestleMania Elite China? That thing peg-warmed for years. It was giving Rio a hard run for her money. Rio's still out on top, though, as you still come across Rios. You don't come across that China anymore. But it'll be interesting to see how well that China figure sells. As much as people say, yes, I want China, it seems like the average Joe Public, shout out to the Ruddles out there. Anybody know that Ruddles song, Joe Public?
My name is Joe Public, I'm sure you all know.
But it doesn't really seem to resonate with the audiences out there that are buying figures. So it's always that weird thing. Yes, we want it, but then when people have to unload their wallet, they don't want to. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But that China looks amazing. Can't wait to get that in 2026. Also shown off was the Ken Shamrock referee, Bret Hitman Hart, and Stone Cold Steve Austin Walmart exclusive 3-pack. That's an all-timer of a 3-pack. I think I'll probably end up getting 2 of those, one to open, one for mint on card in my collection. How amazing would that set be with all 3 autographs on it? That would be a tough one to get. I'm not an autograph guy, but that would be absolutely amazing. Ken Shamrock, one of my all-time favorites. Bret Hitman Hart, one of my all-time favorites. Obviously, I respect Stone Cold Steve Austin a lot, but I'm a Stunning Steve guy. When I was a little kid watching GWF and WCW, I was all in on Stunning Steve, the Hollywood Blondes, all that kind of stuff. So I was a little disappointed when Stone Cold rose to fame, but obviously a good move for him and a lot of good moments. There's no denying that there, but you like what you like. It's one of those things. But I'm very excited for that 3-pack as well. So Walmart bringing some serious heat first of the year. We'll be on the lookout for that. Now turn our attention to some other wrestling news. Nothing out of Jazzwares this week. Once again, kind of goes to that top 5 list I talked about this week on the channel. Check that one out. Some of the issues with Jazzwares. Nothing to talk about this week. Epic Toys in the Great Beverly Brothers race of 2026 showed off images of their figures that are coming in 2026. So if you want to get your Beverly Brothers, head over to Epic Toys. Look pretty good for all intents and purposes. Both of them look pretty good. We'll see which one's the best in the ultimate Beverly Brothers shootout in 2026. How about we get the Minnesota Wrecking Crew or the Destruction Crew? What were their names back in the day? I remember watching them in AWA. Mike Enos and Wayne Bloom, 2 hardcore superstars. One of my good friends trained by them in wrestling once upon a time. Shout Travis, of course. Something really cool this week with Raven. Raven, of course, you know Raven. Everybody knows Raven. ECW legend, WCW, WWE, all points in between. Raven showing off his Grapplers and Gimmicks head sculpt on social media. You know, Mitch over there, Grapplers and Gimmicks, has to really appreciate that. Get some new followers to see this kind of stuff. We're anxiously awaiting the Regium figures of Raven and Kurt Fuller. Where's Kurt Fuller? Can we get that? The Godwin's coming and a few others. We'll see how that goes. But the Raven on point, looking good. We'll see how it stacks up against the competition here in the future. We don't talk a lot of major bendies here on the channel, but this one we had to cross over a little bit here as WrestleCade exclusive Slaughter's Marauders. Yes, Slaughter's Marauders edition of Sergeant Slaughter coming to WrestleCade as an exclusive. They never met a Sergeant Slaughter figure they didn't like. And this is a bit of a deep cut even in the G.I. Joe world. And I'm here for that. Very excited to see that one in hand. I don't know if I'll make the purchase on it. I do love Sergeant Slaughter, but there's only so much stuff you can collect. We know how that goes. But looking very good if that is your thing. We also saw My Fandom Series 1, the official first release of the first series. It is coming to a collection near you. You'll be able to pre-order and order these ones. For me, I like the idea of this. I think it's just going to really struggle. I don't know how many editions they're going to make of these. I think we're looking at 250. That seems about right. Now, primarily Northeast talent. I think all Northeast of the United States talent. So me being a kid from the Midwest, yes, just a kid in the Midwest with a hope and a dream and an ear of corn. That's what I'm up to. But this talent doesn't resonate with me. I don't see them. I don't hear about them. It's just kind of out of sight, out of mind. And I can't spend my hard-earned money on stuff I don't know about, anything like that. Figures look good enough. I wouldn't mind checking them out, but hard to get excited about something when you don't know what's there. I think some people can relate to that a little bit. A cool idea. I just don't know if it'll be a profitable idea. It's going to be very interesting to see how Series 1 goes and what that makes in store for Series 2. But My Fandom Stars Series 1 available. There's alternate variety. You know how it is. Chase rare editions, like all the companies do. You got to get the most out of their molds. They're doing some of that there. Kevin Matthews, the latest announced talent for that, another Northeast talent. So shout out to them. Also, our friend over there at KWK going hard. Every single month, there's new KWK stuff going on. Of course, for me, Dory Funk Jr., an all-timer, a guy that's so underserviced in action figures. I get he's not super toyetic, but we need at least some good Dory Funk Jr. figures. Maybe Power Town. Yeah, maybe not. But we are getting Funk over there. And I got to say, I'm pretty sure, I'm feeling very confident KWK is going to get Dory Funk Jr. to market before Power Town, which is just absolutely insanity. As I think they started working on that 2-3 months ago, where Power Town's had a couple of years at this point. Just absolutely wild to see that. But we do got Dory Funk Jr. coming. We got Laredo Kid. We've talked about that in the past. And then you do got the Orient Express in their white Karate Kid style gear. You do have those options right now to purchase. Plenty of places to purchase these one. Pick your favorite supplier, order from there. But I was very much excited to see. Very much excited. Is that proper English? Well, it is now. I was very excited to see this week the updates to Flash Funk. Oh, he is so funky. Let me tell you, in 1990, 91, what is time? Little Kyle, seeing Flash Funk dancing on that basketball court. Ooh, Flash, you're so funky. Couldn't believe it. But looking amazing. Too Cold Scorpio, technically, but semantics. But Flash Funk looking amazing. The improved head sculpt is definitely improved. Constant learning, constant improvement in action right there. Listening to people, making the adjustments. Kudos to KWK on the Flash Funk. Looking very nice there. A very cool figure that another guy we need more figures from in the future. Hopefully we'll see some of that. And that's it for the wrestling news this week, except our good friends. It's time. Are you ready for this, boys? Mark Summers on the couch this week and Todd McFarlane. You guys ready for it? We got some big updates. It's time for the Power Town update.
Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering?
Time for the Power Town update. Let me tell you, it's a big update this week. A lot of news being broken. What? Yeah, you're right. Absolutely no news broken. Total quiet from the Power Town team. Shame on them. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. We're just knocking on the back door of Thanksgiving. There's no sign of this stuff coming. There's absolutely no sign of this stuff coming this year. And I'm thinking day in, day out, as the days progress and the nights get a little bit longer and the days get a little bit shorter, I look to the stars and I say, I'm kind of at the point where I don't think I'll ever see this Power Town stuff. I don't think it's ever going to ship out now at this point. I didn't want to believe that. I wanted to hold out hope. Now I've really addressed myself and said, Kyle, you're not seeing any of this in 2025. And now I'm starting to lean towards we're never going to even see it in 2026. We're going to see what happens. I hope Power Town proves me wrong. I hope they do something. Maybe in a nice plot twist here as I'm filming this Wednesday. Maybe Friday they'll announce shipping or they'll announce something. But we were also told in February they were on the boat to us and they never walked that back. So it's the longest. They're circumventing the whole globe is what they're doing, trying to get to these ports. We just haven't delivered yet. It's on the boat. The boat's just making its time, and it's like in an old-timey canoe, I think. I might have some aborigines or something in the canoe putting all that stuff, and maybe there's only like 200 figures. So they could fit it in a canoe. I'm not exactly sure, but it is disappointing. That's a broken record at this point. We're all just want our money back, or we want our figures. And let's just put this behind us. Let's forget Power Town ever existed at this point. It's just such a shame as I beat into everybody's head every single week. It is what it is, but there's the Power update, Power Town update. I can't even talk. I'm verklempt. Is that the word? I don't know. Power Town update, no update, a waste of time once again. But like Jerry Reed always says, diving into some other action figure news this week. And like I said, surprisingly, a large amount of toy news for early in the week. Once again, filming this on Wednesday. Full transparency here. We're going to start off with something that was announced this week, something I have never heard of. And apparently it's limited run stuff. Once again, this is totally outside of my wheelhouse, but it's Kith, Kith. We're calling it Kith. It's like Dusty Rhodes trying to say Kiss, I guess, once upon a time. But it's the Kith collab with the Gamerverse. And in an unprecedented move, we're seeing Hasbro and Jada Toys working together with Kith, part of this collaboration. Now, there's a lot of stuff around this, but we're interested in the action figure collaboration. We're getting Ryu. We're getting him from Street Fighter, and we're getting Mega Man. But then on top of that, we're getting some Marvel Legends Gamerverse, historically in the 2-packs, now single-packed, Captain America and Wolverine in their Player B, Player 2 looks, whatever you want to call them. A neat idea right here. Now, no word on how limited these are going to be. It makes it sound like they're a limited edition, which really sucks. But at the same time, I think that's what this company does. They do a lot of limited edition drops. It's kind of like the sneaker phenomenon of the world, making people excited about these. And that's what we're seeing right here. So it's going to be interesting to see how well these go. I'm guessing it makes everybody sounds like it's going to be an immediate sellout on Friday, which is past if you're watching this. Not sure how this will go, but every figure is $45. Now, seems high across the board, especially for the Mega Man figure, but it is what it is. If it's super limited edition, it's super popular, maybe that's really low. I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to debate on getting the Wolverine and the Captain America. I don't know. I don't know if I like them enough, but you guys know I'm pretty heavy into the Marvel Legends. I feel like I need them in my collection. And gun to my head, two of my Mount Rushmore comic heroes of all time, Captain America, Wolverine. So I am interested in these, and those figures are amazing. We unboxed both of them on the channel. So I don't know where I lie. I don't know, maybe a future weekly purchase. Then the hard thing is, if these are really valuable, do I want to unbox these? Because I like the regular versions a lot more. So it plays with your head a little bit. But $45 is going to be the price point on these. Going to be interested to see where that goes here, and if there's going to be more collaborations in the future. I got to say, I'm never a huge fan of these kind of off-the-wall collaborations, but this does seem like something the Marvel Legends team would release in the future. Is let's get the Player B versions out there. I could see that happening. So I don't know. We'll stay tuned to that. It'll be interesting. Be interested to hear from you in the comments below if you're all in on this, if you're picking these up, and what your thoughts are on these, or I guess, did you pick them up at this point? Let me know in the comments below. We also saw this week in the re-release game here, we talk about it all the time, Hasbro, Mattel, Super 7, whoever, they want all the money from you, and they're re-releasing Ant-Man and Wasp 2-pack. So if you're after that and you missed out on it, you got another chance to get that one. When Giant Man came out, that was a pretty popular pack, and I think a lot of people missed out on it. Now it's a chance for people to go back and get this once again. So if you're after that, Hasbro Pulse is the place to go. We also saw Sentinels, another variant of the Sentinels. I'm a huge Sentinels guy, one of my absolute favorites from the X-Men universe. So I did pick these ones up over there, Hasbro Pulse exclusive. Repaints of the ones we got before. So you guys remember those, I'm sure. Now we got another round of those. So Marvel Legends coming at it here as we're finishing the year. We should have one last wave, the Build-A-Figure wave. Sounds like that's already hitting Entertainment Earth of the world. We should see those here in the next couple of weeks. So look for those unboxings. And a lot of Marvel Legend unboxings on the channel as of late. So check those out as well. NECA coming out promoting their Munsters figures. Now, we got the Rob Zombie Munster figures, which were okay for what they were, but most of us wanted the classic Munsters, and we got Herman and Grandpa Munster coming. We saw them at San Diego Comic-Con. Looks like they're just around the corner. Those are must-have pickups for me. Munsters wasn't my favorite, but definitely when I was a kid in reruns on TBS or whatever it might have been, I was watching the Munsters. So very nostalgic here. Cool to have in the collection. I think they're starting off pretty heavy with Grandpa and Herman, the two heaviest of hitters. It'll be interesting to see how deep that line goes, or if that's just it. I guess we'll see. We'll see if we get a Lily, maybe. Who knows? But there's the NECA Munsters. We saw this week as well, Motubi. Yes, Motubi Buzz-Off from Mondo. We've seen Motubi figures in the past. We saw Merman. We saw Man-at-Arms, Skeletor. It's a sub-line of Mondo and He-Man. Very artistic. And we did see Buzz-Off. You're looking at $300+ for this one here. We did just recently unbox the regular edition of Buzz-Off, and I think that's where I'm going to stay. I don't think I'm going to dive into this Motubi one. I am all in on the Masters, but I'm not all in on the Motubi subdivision, and I'm not going to go back and buy some of those really expensive ones from Once Upon a Time. So in my collector brain, I feel like I can pass on this Buzz-Off. And it is the holiday season. Things are getting expensive around this time with Christmas presents, all that kind of stuff. So going to have to pass on the Buzz-Off Motubi. As much as I would like to get it, going to have to pass on that one. But that does bring an interesting thing to the table here, as this week, a lot of news articles. Feel free to Google search it. But there's a lot of stuff out there about Funko, and of course Funko Pops being the big part of Funko, going out of business, drastically in big trouble, financial trouble. It's one of those things where Funko Pops were like Beanie Babies, but to say they're like Beanie Babies, I think is discredit Funko Pops, because Funko Pops have been around a heck of a lot longer, had a longer rise, longer shelf life, no pun intended, than Beanie Babies. But I think it is very similar. It was a craze, and I think that's where the correlation lies. And Funko Pop's definitely a craze. I know many of people that were all in and then finally said, what am I doing with my life? I got to get out of this. I've never been a Funko Pop guy. I've dabbled in a few. Give me the Ultimate Warriors. I'm more of the average collector that gets a couple for their desk once in a while. But I'm not all in. There's a lot of people all in on Funko Pop. To be a very expensive proposition, as we do know, if you're collecting all of that stuff. So totally not for the faint of heart, but I know a lot of people will be pretty sad if Funko Pops do disappear and they are gone forever. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll stay to it. There's been a lot of talk of their demise for the last couple of years, but maybe it's finally coming. I don't know. We're going to find out here sooner rather than later. But what reminds me of the Motubi, Mondo, Masters Universe, and everything else, we do know Funko owns Mondo. So it's a subsidiary of Funko. What does that mean for Mondo? Will that get spun off and sold somewhere else? Will that close up shop with Funko if Funko goes out of business? We're getting a little bit of the cart before the horse here so far. But will that mean no more Mondo? I don't know where that goes. So that's going to be something to really stay tuned to in the future. I don't know. I don't know how that goes, but it's scary times, though. If you're a Funko fan, you're a Mondo fan, the uncertainty of it all and what will be canceled. Now, we saw that this year. Diamond Select went out of business. Those all got disappeared. And it sounds like, did NECA buy them or something? I'm not sure. But that went by the wayside. And we say it every single year in the wrestling game specifically, that there's all these third-party companies. Somebody's going to not last. Somebody's going to go out of business. And this year, who knows? Maybe this could be the grand final hurrah for Powertown. And they didn't even release any product this year. But Powertown go out of business. Does Rush Collectibles go out of business? They said they were done as well. So we're always going to see these companies every single year closing up shop, especially in the lower stuff. But Funko, let's be honest, that's a major heavy player and definitely was for quite some time. To see them go away will be a ripple, and it'll be interesting to see, as I think a lot of those Funko Pops will unfortunately be very worthless when they do close up shop. It'll take some time to rise back up if they ever do as ever. I don't know. I don't think very many. There's probably a couple Beanie Babies that are worth something now, but they never rose to the fame they were once upon a time. Starting Lineup's another one of kind of those fads. So as we always say here on the channel, I'm a broken record, invest in your 401k. Don't invest in your action figures for your retirement. If you do get some money out of them, it's great. Get your enjoyment out of them. Get your fun out of them. That's where the value is. It's not on the reseller market. Outside of a couple of pieces, I get it, but don't bank your retirement on it. Don't say, I'm grabbing this Cody Rhodes Elite 120 and I'm going to bank my retirement, because you're going to be in big trouble. You're going to be living in a cardboard box under the bridge. That's what's going to happen. Mark my words. Mark my words. So there it is, a little business hat talk there. And to finish up a little He-Man, we saw in-package images of He-Man Mark Taylor Sketchbook Target Edition. We've been seeing this over the last couple of weeks, kind of peppering it out there. Now we got the full reveal. So coming to Target, I'm assuming early 2026. We'll see where that one goes. Thundercats, talked about him last week, up for pre-order right now. No Wiz-Raw in sight, so I guess he got dialed back or left over. But we got Red Eye and Lion-O. Rumors that they're shipping this year. That'll be interesting if that is the case. But we got both of those around the corner, so be on the lookout for those. Moving over to Mythic Legions this week. We don't talk a ton of Mythic Legions here. Not sure everybody's interested in that, but this was Legion Con week. Some big stuff over there. They had exclusives. It's almost too hard to keep track of. Now, if you're only living that Legion life and that's all you're into, it's maybe a little bit easier to keep track of. But they had a lot of stuff at Legion Con. But one thing from the coverage I saw, I didn't see anything new about Cosmic Legions. And let's be honest, Mythic Legions sells way better than Cosmic Legions. We all know that. But are they dialing back Cosmic Legions? Are they going to cancel Cosmic Legions? I guess we'll see what happens in the future. I don't think they'll outright cancel it, but they might dial it back a little bit, as it does seem like the Mythic Legions are what the consumer wants, and you always got to vote with your wallet. You always got to listen to the consumer, as we do know. But we did see some interesting stuff. I guess 11/15, we will see the Barbarian on sale over the last year. He's been kind of a con toy show exclusive. We're seeing that Barbarian going up on the Store Horseman site 11/15. I like this one because he looks like He-Man. He can look like Conan. He can look like a straight-up Barbarian. He's really a 3-in-1 figure. I will be picking up one more of those when the time comes, so that'll be coming. We did see a figure Obscura, once again, going back to ancient Egypt, I guess coming sometime in 2026. I think some people got a hold of it at Legion Con. Thoth, it's the bird guy from Egypt. That's what he is at the end of the day. But a good one, and whenever I think of him, I think back to the classic G.I. Joe episode with him in it, so might be good for Joe collectors, too, if you want to reimagine that episode once upon a time. We did see both of those, And then the big news from Legions this week was the dawn of Discovery Wave. Some cool looking figures in here. You got Knights. There's a lot of people that collect their Templar Knights. You got one of those. You got like a walrus man with one big old tusk. Those walruses always breaking one tusk off. It seems like every action figure that's that way. But we saw that. We saw the deluxe giant crab man. We saw a little goblin guy that's ready for Mardi Gras. A lot of cool figures in this wave. At first, I was like, I like this one. I like this one. But the more I've looked at it and the more I've kind of drank it in, I've said, man, I think I might be all in on this wave. So we'll see. A lot of Mythic Legions to still unbox on the channel. I got a huge stack over there. Been doing that over on Kyle Peterson 2.0. So make sure you're subscribed to both of my channels if you want to live a little of that Legion life, of course. And I got that Jersey Devil sitting right down there. I got to get around to that as well. So many figures, hard to keep track of, hard to get to everything every single day, as you can imagine. But the Dawn of Discovery Wave right now up for pre-order at Store Horseman. You can save some money by buying through there. If you don't want them having your money for a year plus, you can wait, as our friends over there at Jay's Toys and Games will have a bunch of those in stock. Use code Kyle, save 15% when the time comes. That's probably my plan, but we'll see what ends up happening there. But a lot of stuff out of Legion Con, a lot of fun times. It would be great to go there one of these years. I want to try to go there. I want to try to go to Joe Lanta. I want to go to New York Comic Con, of course, Power Con. I'd like to go to some of these other things. San Diego, I'm probably skipping this year, as I've talked about. I got to go see Rush. I can't miss Rush again, so I got to go see that. And then I definitely got to go see Iron Maiden and Megadeth as well. So I'll be a little tied up maybe around that time. So we'll see, though. I can always change my mind. You never know. My wife say, we need to go to San Diego, and we'll be off to see the Wizard. We'll see what happens there. And if I do go to San Diego, I definitely want to see this guy, Todd McFarlane from The Couch. Good friend of the channel, Todd McFarlane, wiggling his toes like crazy, like a madman, some may say. But pretty quiet on the McFarlane front this week, at least so far. He'll probably release a ton of stuff on the weekend. We'll see what happens. But we did see Doom figure this week up for Toy of the Year. And every year, Todd McFarlane has something up for the Toy of the Year. And it looks like we got a Doom figure. Now, I don't know anything about Doom. I remember the video game, never played it. There was a movie with The Rock. I never saw it. So you know I'm not collecting the action figures. But kudos to McFarlane and the McFarlane team for being up for another Toy of the Year. Every single year. Was it the Adam West Batman last year or the year before that? I can't remember. But they've had a really good run of that. So kudos to the McFarlane team and all they do out there. It's always a good thing. And I didn't hear of anything else up for the Toy of the Year. So kudos to McFarlane once again. But that is it. That's the toy news, at least as of Wednesday. Like I said, if anything breaks Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, guess what? It'll be in next week's toy news. We'll get around to it if it's important enough, of course. But that's the toy news this week. What's your thoughts? What you excited for? What are you picking up out of this kind of stuff? Let me know in the comments down below. You made it this far. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell, as we got videos every single day. And then some. We got even more content for you on Patreon. Patreon, the best way to support this YouTube channel and all the content it does bring. You know there's a lot of content. You can also check out YouTube channel memberships. Sir Paul64 on the X, the _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and the Kyle Peterson Show at gmail.com. The name of my podcast each and every Tuesday. Check it out this week for a dive back into elementary school fiascos and no good foster kids. Yes, I said it. No good foster kids. Check out the episode. And then check out my book, available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, The Complete Guide to the ECW Original San Francisco Toy Makers, or The Complete Guide to the Jakks Class Superstar Series. Both available right now. I also have some ECW books still available. If you guys want an autographed copy, hit me up wherever you want to hit me up. So for another week of the toy news, you know what I'm doing. I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into another weekend.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?
I'm solid gold.